Hey, so this is a system that basically automates lead gen and qualification for me using people that I can find on like YouTube. I'm not even going to talk too much. I'm just going to show you what it is. This is going to be like the shortest video ever. But yeah, um, so I'm going to explain what's going on here. Okay, so what you just saw is basically a sort of a way that it could go about things. How I set up the table here is for it to sort of go sort of through the table. And let's go to the YouTube leads actually. So what it does is it sort of gets YouTube leads based on a query. You might be wondering, where's the query? The query is AI generated. So it AI generates a query. It looks for channels in that sort of niche, and then once it finds them, it goes on and then it gets the information. And what we want to do next is we want to filter out any of them that actually don't meet any of our required needs. So what we want is we want channels with above 500 subscribers, so that like because we know that those are going to be people who are actually serious about YouTube. If we're ever gonna get a lead from YouTube, it's gonna be that. This is the flow below is a flow where if I go into here, so like you could like this is how it looks. This is the lead list. These leads are sorted based on one field, which is their lead status. So it's like if the status is like flaming or whatever, basically meaning that they're flaming hot. Okay. So yeah, there's just a bunch of leads, there's like 50 of them or whatever. And if I ever come into here and then I could just like add a new lead, like at the bottom here, I could just add one. Say hypothetically, I wanted to research someone whose name is uh, RoboCop. I don't even know. So what you just saw is like there was a lead I added, but since they didn't exist, so since the items that were found were total results was zero, they ended up getting deleted from the table like entirely. Um, so if we test this again, what's going to happen is you're going to have like maybe a different kind of result. And here we had a different result already because we're searching for a different search term, as you can imagine. So here we didn't find Robocop, that's why that entry got deleted from the table entirely. But here we did find these, and you might be wondering what's going on here. It's running a sub workflow that is like whose base sort of main thing is to just qualify the leads. Let's go check out what that is doing basically. Let me come back in here and just like I'm not going to go through too much of like what's happening, but I'm gonna give you like the step-by-step overview. This generates the search term. This looks through the search term and gets all the channels involved. It splits out the channels so that we can deal with them one by one. This gets the channel information. This filters the results based on our standards for like what we want. So we wanted channels with certain number of subscribers, certain amount of engagement on their videos, and so on and so forth. We want to change the variables of like how we store them so that we can actually store them in Airtable. But before we store that, we have to get the Airtable entries, and then we're going to look at these entries that we just filtered out. What we're going to do next is we're going to find any duplicates. So now that we didn't find any duplicates yet because there were 89s coming through and now the 89s going out, meaning that we didn't find any duplicates, we can store those in Airtable. This was supposed to merge with any of the manual entries that we put in the Airtable, but it didn't do that. Since the manual entry didn't exist in YouTube, like it wasn't a real channel handle. It wasn't a real channel handle. So here it moves on and then it executes the sub workflow, which is for lead qualification. So what happens here, we can actually just go into the executions just so that you see this. Let's bring this one in and we'll copy it to the editor. And yeah, we'll unpin this. Okay, cool. So what happens here is that it brings in all of these items and then goes ahead and it deals with them like one by one. It separates them based on their status, so basically based on their lead status that we just calculated from the previous one. It gets information about their playlist, so basically any video that they've ever released. It splits that information out, and then it starts sort of like looking at it deeply, for basically information, such as when they published it, and like what's the difference between today's date and the last date that they published a video, and so on and so forth. It formats those that video text into like a way so that we could store it along with the actual scores that it just generated. And then yeah, it formats that into an Airtable, sort of like the input for Airtable, so that Airtable can understand it. And then we store those entries in Airtable. Now when we come back here, and since these are sorted based on a field that is this one, the lead status, when they come in here, we are we're not entirely like sure where they came in, but if there's one thing that we could know, it's that it's the ones that don't really have the videos scored. So these are the new ones. And like as you can tell, they have all these different sort of channel categories that we sort of scraped. We're scraping channel descriptions, channel IDs. We're scraping videos on their last released videos. So these are like a few different videos with different video IDs, so that we could just copy these and paste them and actually get the actual video that they just posted. And again, we're getting all this information for practically minimal amounts of work. Like we're getting this mailing information, so we know how to actually like send them information, like send them any sort of like queries. This is all like very useful information, as you can imagine. So yeah, all of that was done in a few seconds, as you could tell, which is like very powerful. So that was just how the lead generation system works. Thank you for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.